Hi, I'm Bruno from testRigor. Let's get started. In this video, we're going to go over the top 5 BDD tools out on the market. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you need to scale QA, consider testRigor, a generative AI-based test automation tool. If you'd like to learn more about testRigor, feel free to visit our website at testrigor.com. The behavior-driven development approach, BDD, is a great way to ensure that your product satisfies customer expectations. If you're still deciding whether BDD will work for your specific needs, you might want to look at the attached article. It'll help you form a solid understanding of the entire process as well as use cases where BDD is applicable. Once you align your development with BDD, the next step is to choose the right tool. Let's take a look at some of the BDD tools that are prevalent in the market. But before that, let's look at how BDD adds value to your deliveries. How does BDD help? Any application or product caters to a specific need coming from stakeholders and end users. BDD helps to ensure that you can identify behavioral aspects of your product. Sometimes technical folks may need the viewpoint of other less technical team members like product owners and business analysts to understand what the customer wants. During such times, having a common outline of functionalities that can be used to collaborate helps. BDD tools in the market help with this. Their main aim is to simplify system behavior so that those scenarios can be used as guidance by developers, testers, and other team members to align on the application's behavior in different scenarios. Thus, we understand BDD involves identifying the client expected behavior of the system, jotting them down in a scenario format with the user stories, and then automating those scenarios so that they can be used to test the system once the development is completed. Top 5 BDD tools to choose from. One of the most well-known open-source BDD tools, Cucumber, is used to write expected user behaviors rather than defining test cases. With Cucumber, you can define a feature file that includes all the steps in a given when-then format, which is known as the Gherkin language. Each step must correspond to a step definition or an executable piece of code. These definitions are combined in the step definition file. Pros of using Cucumber. It is open source. The focus of the test case remains on defining the behavior of the system. Step definition code can be reused for other test scenarios. Cucumber can be combined with various other frameworks. Cucumber also offers multilingual support for writing test scenarios. Though Cucumber is a Ruby-based framework, it also supports multiple other programming languages like Java, Python, and JavaScript. Cucumber does have a pretty big community around it, and Cucumber also has provisions for report generation, but you can also integrate with other tools. Cons of using Cucumber. The Gherkin language, which is at the heart of this framework, can be quite difficult to work with when defining complex use cases. Though the feature file can be written in Gherkin language, the step definition still has to be coded, so prior knowledge of programming languages is needed, and tedious test maintenance. Next, we have JBehave. JBehave is another open source tool that is used to write BDD test scenarios. The Gherkin language is also used here to define user stories. In JBehave, user stories are nothing but your test scenarios. Each of those steps in the story is coded so that the expected set of actions takes place during the story execution. JBehave is purely a Java framework. Pros of using JBehave. It is an open source software. Focus on the test cases remain on defining the behavior of the system. You can reuse Java code for other test scenarios. It is compatible with different IDEs and supports multi-browser testing. It offers multi-language support for writing test scenarios and has provisions for report generation, but you can also integrate it with other tools. Cons of using JBehave. The Gherkin language, once again, is at the heart of this framework, which can be quite difficult to work with when defining complex use cases. It does only support Java, so it does require Java programming knowledge to build test cases, and tedious test maintenance. Next, we have Behat. Behat is a popular open source framework explicitly built around PHP that helps support BDD development. The scenarios are captured in the form of user stories or examples which are written using the Gherkin language. Pros of using Behat. It is open source. Focus of the test case remains on defining the behavior of the system. Behat also offers multilingual support for writing test scenarios. It also allows multi-browser testing and is OS independent. And it also has provisions for report generation, but you could also integrate it with other tools. Cons of using Behat. The Gherkin language, which is at the heart of this framework as well, can be quite difficult to work with when defining complex use cases. Behat is only applicable to PHP, so it does require PHP programming knowledge to build test cases. It does not have an ample community around it, and setting up a test environment can be challenging. Next, we have SpecFlow. SpecFlow is a BDD tool that is great for .NET frameworks. It utilizes the Gherkin language to write test scenarios. These test scenarios are then broken down into steps, and code is written against each of the steps, taking the corresponding actions. Pros of using SpecFlow. It is an open source software. Focus on the test case remains on defining the behavior of the system. SpecFlow offers multilingual support for writing test scenarios. It also offers multi-browser testing and is also OS independent. And SpecFlow also has provisions for report generation, but can also be integrated with other tools. Cons of using SpecFlow. The Gherkin language, which is also at the heart of this framework, can be quite difficult to work with when defining complex use cases. SpecFlow is only applicable to .NET frameworks, so it does require programming knowledge to build test cases. And SpecFlow also has tedious test maintenance. The best tool in the space, and perhaps the easiest way to use the BDD approach, is testRigor. The most significant difference with all the other tools in this category is that no programming knowledge is needed, and no Gherkin syntax either. The AI engine behind testRigor allows users to write executable specifications in plain English. There are no step definition files, making the entire process much smoother. Even more so, any team member will be able to make changes to any existing test case, since it's just plain English. Pros of using testRigor. You can define the scenarios in plain English without the restraints of Gherkin. These scenarios are then interpreted by testRigor and executed, thus eliminating the need to know any programming language. testRigor does support cross-browser and cross-platform testing. testRigor also has very exceptionally swift and easy test maintenance, and testRigor has built-in report generation capabilities. testRigor also has detailed documentation, along with customer support that are always at your fingertips. Cons of using testRigor. You will need a paid plan for testRigor, but you do have many options with how to customize that plan. Steps of the scenarios need to currently be written in English, though we are supporting other languages shortly. So, in conclusion, BDD is a great way to ensure that all stakeholders are on the same page with the requirements. It is vital to understand the most popular tools in the market and choose the one that best suits your needs. Happy testing!